And really feel yourself centered in your hips. So maybe you sway a little front to back, side to side, and then feel your torso resting over the bowl of the pelvis. So there's this position where we can have chest floating over hips. So there's really not a lot of muscular strain required to sit up nice and tall. Fingertips to shins or the kneecaps. Inhale, bring the belly, ribs forward, lift the chest, lift your gaze, seated cow pose. Exhale, pull your belly back, round your spine, and peer in towards your navel. And then just take a few gentle rocks like that. Inhale, little back bend. Exhale, flexing the spine. One more. Inhale. And exhale, rolling the spine back. Inhale, sit tall, reach arms. Exhale, lean to your right. Left arm reaches up and over towards your right, and then pause there in your side bend. Breathing into the left side of your ribs. Find some volume and space right through all those little muscles that sit between your rib bones. Try not to worry about how low to the floor you get, but feel that reaching, that curling up and over. One more inhale here. Exhale, lift yourself up, pause, inhale, find length in the spine, and then keep length as you exhale, rotate towards your left. Right fingertips, left kneecap, left fingers back behind you. Sit bones heavy, chest wide, reach energy through the crown of the head. Maybe even close the eyes and feel that regalness through the chest as you sit up nice and tall into your twist. Good, one more inhale. Exhale slowly through center. And then we're gonna lean forward, come forward to hands and knees. And then cat and cow here. Inhale, drop the belly, pull the chest forward. Exhale, push, round the spine. Two more. Inhale, extending the spine. Exhale, flexing the spine. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, curl your toes back behind you and start to sit back like you're gonna come into child's pose. Just spreading, opening through the soles of the feet, sitting back into your hips. Inhale, lean forward, cross ankles, find your seat, left shin in front of right shin. Nice. Fingertips to kneecaps. Inhale, seated cow pose. Exhale, rounding. So we're gonna go about 4 more like that. And as you inhale, feel height as you lift the chest, reach energy through the crown of the head. And then exhale, curl and round back. And there's this little movement over the sitting bones. As you inhale, you feel a little bit more weight towards the front of your sitting bones. And exhale, it's like you lean back behind those sit bones. Good. Inhaling and exhaling. Let's go one more. Inhale. And exhale. Good, and then sit up nice and tall, reach your arms overhead. And then leaning over to the left. Now reach right arm up and over. Sit your left seat down heavy. Press, reach your right hip down and wide as you take right fingers up and over towards your left. Try not to sink and crunch into your low back and the left side of your waist. Imagine there's a little bar right underneath that left shoulder blade, inner border of your shoulder blade that you're reaching up and over as you spread. Spill those right ribs wide. Good. Breathe into the right side of your waist. Really focusing on pulling the breath into the stretch. And then exhale, sitting heavier into the hips. Good. One more breath in. And then all the way back up, arms reach up and overhead. Feel the front meet the back meet the front, and the sides of your waist long. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, rotate. Left fingers, right knee, right fingers back behind you. Try not to slouch. If you find yourself slouching a lot, maybe sit up onto something so you can feel that height, that lift, that regalness as you turn your chest any amount towards your right. And breathe into the feeling of just being in your body, maybe even closing the eyes and feeling the twist from the inside out. Good, another breath in. And then exhale, slowly come back center, lean forward, find tabletop 3 times on all fours. Inhale, belly drops, chest lifts. Exhale, push round. Good, grip a little bit down into those fingers as you inhale, chest forward, feel the heel of your hand pull back. And then exhale, push round, feel those little finger grips reaching that forward. One more, inhale. And exhale. If they're not already, curl toes, start to sit those hips back towards your heels. This time, walk your hands a little bit further forward. Grip your mat, bring your ears down, but not forehead to the floor, ears along biceps. Reach your arms forward as you sit your butt back towards your heels, doesn't have to touch. Take an inhale here. And then keep gripping the mat, press weight into the ball of your foot, hover your knees, and then start to lift those hips high into downward facing dog. And then once you get up into down dog, adjust. So if your calves are feeling really tight, your hamstrings are feeling really tight, maybe you take a little shorter dog pose today. Maybe you start with that generous bend in your knees, or you can start to really walk it back, take the feet wider or narrower. Just get into the body for a moment, feel it out. Good, you can sway, you can cycle the knees, whatever you need to do here. Check in. And one more inhale. And then exhale, roll it forward to your high plank position. Pause, press the floor away. Front body meets the back body meets the front body. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, knees tap down, thighs, hips lower, elbows soften back so you pause through a high cobra and lower all the way down onto your belly. Reach your fingers back, interlace. Press through the tops of your feet. Feel your shoulder blades squeeze together, collarbones wide. And then really push your feet down. Take them a little wider than your hips. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, lean a little bit towards your right in your upper body. Inhale through center. Exhale, leaning to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, leaning right. Inhale, center. Exhale, leaning left. Inhale, center, pause. Exhale, palms by your chest. Press to knees. And all the way back to downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your right leg high to the sky. Exhale, step it through, pause, fingers to the floor, back thigh is strong. And then push down into your feet. Inhale all the way up into a high lunge. If you prefer it, you can bring the back knee down, no big deal. Take a moment here, feel your feet reach up through your spine, reach through fingers. Take a big breath in. Take a big breath out. One more in. Exhale, hands down, pause, press the mat away, step back, high plank or knees to the floor. Inhale, exhale, lower slow to your belly. Press your feet, lift your chest, pull the heel of your hand back as you lift your chest up, back is strong, legs are strong. And then exhale all the way back to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg reaches up. Exhale, left toe step through, pause, find your feet, press your feet down with intention, and then use the strength of your legs to reach your spine up and out of your hips. You don't have to be at any particular angle with your legs close to the floor. You just want to feel sturdy and strong as this nice long light read of the spine reaches up and out of the legs. Good. Breathe in. Exhale, hands down, step back, find your plank. Inhale, plank. Exhale, floor. One more round, cobra pose. Press feet, lift chest. Inhale. Exhale with ease, glide back. Downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, bend the knees, look forward. Exhale, lightly step or hop forward. Inhale, fingertips to shins, reach the spine forward out of the hips, pause. Exhale, fold and stay. Soften the knees, maybe reach for opposite elbow. Notice where your weight is in your feet. And then maybe just kind of consciously shift your weight a little bit forward, back, side to side. You can walk your feet a little bit wider so you can feel a little sway and a little movement of the soles of your feet around in your mat as you sway your spine from side to side. You can pick up one heel, opposite heel. And then drop your fingers down. Bend your knees a lot. Roll yourself up to standing. Close your eyes and feel your feet. Drop your arms. So this process of asana is really just getting into the body, breathing, feeling, and paying attention to what we're doing while we're doing it. And we have this great benefit of being able to practice together in this container. So we're setting intention to be present in our own home practice space, but knowing that we're connected. Now, feel a little bit more firm in your feet as you softly blink the eyes open. Feel that little tripod on your right foot, little tripod on your left foot. Ball a big toe, ball a pinky toe, center of your heel. Chest is buoyant. There's not a lot of effort though. There's still that agile sway of the body. It's always in motion. Good. Press feet a little bit more. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hinge at those hip creases. Soften your knees as you fold forward and down. Fingertips to shins. Inhale, halfway lift, strong back. Lift the chest forward. Exhale, fingers to the earth. Step your right toes back. Bring your right knee down. Press down into your left heel and your right kneecap, and then firm your feet down. Reach up. From here, bend your right elbow and take it behind your skull. Push your skull into your hand. Push your hand into your skull. And then bring your left hand to your left thigh. From here, instead of just dropping the hips down and pulling the head back, I want you to keep that feeling of pressure of your hand and your head together. Lift the crown of the head up, and then start to, from your mid back, same space as cobra pose, lift and curl back. From here, you might take your left hand to join your right hand. You can interlace your fingers, squeeze your elbows towards each other, and then really use this base to reach the skull up and out of that trapezius kind of tension at the base of the neck and in the upper back. Should feel pretty good, like you're tractioning the neck as you lean a little bit back, but it's really kind of down, up, and then over. Same kind of like pole vaulting action here. Take one more inhale, and then exhale, pull yourself forward, right hand down, left arm reaches up, firm into your left heel, outer left hip, lift your left leg. Take an inhale here. Exhale, left hand to the mat, step back to plank. Pause here, inhale. From here, you have choices. You can exhale, bend your elbows, lower chaturanga, or to the floor. Inhale, cobra, upward facing dog. Exhale, pull the hips back, downward facing dog. Take a moment here, register the warmth, the temperature of your skin. So Stephanie is joining us from Brooklyn, where it's almost always like a hot, wet oven in the summer. And here in California right now, it's like, 90 degrees, and we're all feel like we're about to spontaneously combust because we're not used to it. So just observe that there's actual moisture on your skin. All of my Northern California yogis out there. Inhale, reach your right leg high to the sky. Exhale, big step, right toes through, left knee down. Just one breath, one motion this side. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, hands forward, nice and light, step forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release it, fold. Use your legs, drive the mat down as you reach your spine and arms follow. Exhale, pull palms to the center of the chest. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fingers down, left toes back, left knee down. Press down, find Anjaneyasana, the low lunge. This time, right hand, right thigh, left hand behind your skull. So notice if your tendency here is to kind of spill your pelvis forward and tuck your tailbone back or pull your tailbone back. You don't have to curl your tailbone under, but just find that there's pressure of your left kneecap down, right heel into your mat, and you're kind of steady right here. And then you can lean without kind of pouring the bowl of your pelvis towards your right heel. Can you lean a little bit forward? And then with your hand and your skull connected, feel that pressure of skull into hand, hand into skull, and then lifting up and leaning back, but it's almost like a curling back, right back behind the heart. And then if you want to, right hand comes back as well. You can interlace fingers, or if you have a little bit more room in the shoulders, you can bring your hands into prayer position. Feel the hand supports the back of your skull, and then you have that space to traction as you squeeze the elbows together. So this is really the opposite of a work from home pattern. This low lunge, getting into the hips, opening the front of the hip, the belly, extending the spine, and releasing the weight of the skull into the hands, but not just collapsing. So create some space back there. Take an inhale. And then exhale, pull forward, left hand down, right arm reaches, back toes curl, back thigh lifts. Find that support, outer right hip squeezing in, turn the chest, look up. And then exhale, right hand comes down, step it back, pause in your plank. Inhale here. You have choices, knees can come down, you can take chaturanga, lower slow to the floor. For cobra, upward facing dog, just rolling over the toes. And then exhale, get back to downward facing dog. So vinyasa is always choose your own adventure, just like Patreon will be choose your own adventure. So you're used to having options, you're used to having choices, explore them. Pause in downward facing dog and feel. The benefit of it being really hot outside is that we don't have to move as much to work up the tapas, to work up the heat of vinyasa practice. Inhale, left leg reaches up. Exhale, left toes come through, right knee taps down, one breath. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, hands forward, nice and light. Let's step forward, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, release. Press down, inhale, lift it up. Exhale, pull palms to the center of the chest. We'll do 2 rounds of Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hinge, fold. Inhale, halfway. Choices from here. You can exhale, hands down, step, or hop back, chaturanga or plank. Inhale, cobra, upward facing dog. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Good. Now from here, we're going to do a little motion in between our 2 Surya A's. You're going to take your left foot and step it halfway forward on your mat. Look forward to your hands and bring your right hand to the mid-mat. And you're going to come into your modified side plank. So your left foot is crossed in front of your right thigh. The left knee is coming straight out of the hips. Left arm reaches up. From here, bend your left elbow and reach for the right side of your skull. And then push down into the earth and bow your left ribs up towards the ceiling as much as possible. You don't have to be heavy-handed. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, lower your hips down towards the floor. Maybe they touch or they're just hovering. Reach your left fingers back. 2 more. Inhale, lift hips, left fingers tap right ear. Exhale, lower hips, reach back. Inhale, push, lift, pull those left ribs up. Exhale, lower down, left hand reaches back. And then start to turn and step back, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, soften knees, look forward. Exhale, step or hop forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. All the way up. Inhale, palms in prayer. Exhale. One more, Surya A. Inhale, reaching. Oh, there's just a breeze that came through the kitchen. It feels so good. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, remember bringing hands forward of toes and leaning weight to fingertips as you hop back gives you a little bit more support. Your back bend as you inhale. Exhale, take it back. Downward facing dog. And then pause there for a moment. Take a breath in. And then exhale, step your right foot mid-mat. Turn, left hand mid-mat. Find that nice setup. It's nice to have the left wrist a little forward of the shoulder and peeling the left side of your chest open wide and really drive the mat down. So the chest is broad and the upper back is broad. Inhale, right fingers, left ear, bow the right side of your ribs. Exhale, lower hips, reach back. Inhale, lift it up. Find a little side bend if you can. Exhale, lower down. Last one, inhale. Exhale. And then inhale, coming up, turning and stepping back to downward facing dog. Feel your hands, feel your feet, take a breath. Inhale, bend knees, look forward. Exhale, step or hop. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, refold, release. All the way up. Inhale, reach it tall. Exhale, palms in prayer. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, right knee into your chest, left hand to your hip. Pause for a moment and then push down into your left heel. Feel your outer left hip firm as you reach your right arm nice and tall. And then exhale, slide your right foot into any height of tree pose. So you can have it closer to the floor. It can be an inner thigh. You're going to squeeze the foot and the inner thigh together and explore here. Take your right hand towards your right knee. Reach your left arm up and over to your right. Challenge your balance a little bit. Maybe grip and find your right ear as you side bend towards your right. Just a little bit. Makes it a little trickier for balance. Press your left foot down and see if you can find that reach up and over that we had seated, that we just found in our side plank. Let's take another breath in. And then exhale, can you pull it back to center as you reach your arms overhead, pause. And then exhale, right foot down, feet wide, toes turn out a little bit. Exhale, lower, Malasana. And then find a height of Malasana where you're not like sitting down into your knee and ankle joints, where you're pushing the floor. So you might even have your forearms on your thighs. Lift and reach the chest up and out of the hips. Take a big breath in. And a big breath out. One more in. Exhale, hands down, hips lift, toes spin forward, pause in your forward bend. And bend knees, roll it up to standing. A half sun salutation. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, refold, release the head at the bottom of that fold to standing. Inhale. Keep your arms overhead. Exhale, shift weight, right foot, left knee to chest. Inhale here. Exhale, right hand, right hip. And then really find that pressure, that lift, 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 and slide your right foot into Vrikshasana, the tree pose. Press inner thigh and heel together. Feel that glue in your center and that lift from your pelvic floor all the way up to the top of your skull. Woo. Don't watch yourself on camera or you will fall. Take a big breath in. And then exhale, try to side bend to the left. And if you feel like you're tipping over a lot, as I'm doing, you can bring yourself close to the wall, knee into the wall, side bend, close to the wall. So you get more, just depends on if you're working balance or you really want to work the side bend with the hip opener. If you fall, you fall. Take a breath in. Exhale, pull yourself back to center, reach your arms overhead, find height, find that right foot down, and then drop arms, drop left foot, toes spin wide, sit down, squatting, your low squat. You might move a little bit before you find it, move and groove. Right fingers down, left arm reaches up this round. Push down into your feet, reach up into your left finger. Through center, left side, left hand down, right arm reaches up. Feel breath across the chest. Back to center, inhale. Hands down, hips lift, exhale. From here, inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale, your choice is to get back to downward facing dog. So you can step or hop back, up to you. Big breath in, open the chest. Exhale, pull those hips back, pause. Inhale, reach your right leg high to the sky. For warrior two, exhale, step your right toes forward, spin your left heel down, press your feet, and find your warrior two stance. Feel that evenness in effort from your right leg to your left leg. Equanimous presence across the body. Good. Take an inhale. And then exhale, set up your reverse warrior. Left fingers drip down, right arm reaches up and over. And then from here, we'll stay. We're kind of getting a little bit more side bend in our practice today. Reaching up and over without sinking into the left side of your low back. So really feel from the energy of your feet that you're curling up and back. Good. One more inhale. And then stay in the reverse triangle pose. Straighten your right leg. Exhale, pull yourself to center first, but keep length through the right side of your waist as you bring yourself forward and down. Utthita Trikonasana. This extended, Utthita means this reach, this extension in your triangle. So try not to sink just to get your fingers to the floor. All this space that we've created in the sides of the waist, keep it. You might even test it out by losing your right arm for a second. Good, one more inhale. And then exhale, transition back, warrior two. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, straighten your right leg, pivot your feet so you're in your standing straddle stance. You might narrow it, you might take it wider. Press your feet, inhale, reach to the crown of the head. Exhale, forward bending. Maybe soften the knees as you drop your head down. Any dance you like with the arm here. Maybe this round you reach for outer ankles, but try to keep it soft in the upper back. So we've already created lots of good neck relief and release. Just pause and let the head go, not over efforting to get your head closer to the floor. Nothing really happens when you get your head to the floor. I mean, I understand the impulse. I've been there. But just speaking from experience, nothing happens down there. Good. And then take a moment to walk your fingers forward into your long tabletop spine. Look at your left foot, turn your left toes out a little bit, and start to lean into your left side bend. You might even sit into your kind of half malasana, or what's often called skandasana, sitting back and down into your hips and lifting up into your chest. Heel might be touching the floor, it might not. You might have fingers on the floor, you might have hands in prayer, or you could go left fingers down, right arm up. Good, we're just gonna stay here for another breath, so try not to get too busy. Take an inhale, and then exhale, both hands to the floor. Transition back to warrior two from here, reaching up. Inhale. Your options to get back to downward facing dog. Exhale, take your time. Remember to find those moments between each pose, the pause in between each movement. That's no rush. Moving slow is challenging, but give it a shot. Inhale, left leg reaches up. Exhale, left toes step through. Set up your warrior two on the second side. Feel your feet. You reach your arms. Good. Feel that evenness of presence through your back fingers, your front fingers, just as much as your legs, through the chest and the upper back. Good. Exhale, set up your reverse warrior, and then stay. And then notice if one side is a little crankier than the other. You could even, on this side as well, bring your fingers to the opposite side of your skull. Kind of use that to let the head drop, and the left elbow really helps you to get more into the side bend in the ribs, in the side of the waist. Good, take an inhale in your reverse, and then exhale, keep the reverse, straighten your left leg. Pause in the center. Keep your left arm reaching up. Feel all that length that you just created in your left side waist and throughout this whole practice, and take it with you as you come into triangle pose. So you could even do the pose. We often do the pose in practices without even using the arms, because the arms are, especially in this pose, just an accessory. So you can move them anywhere, like a magician. I kind of feel like a magician in this outfit because it's so awesome that you can still be structured in your spine and your legs, whether your fingers are on the floor or not. So take a moment, inhale. Transition back, warrior two as you exhale. Reach wide across. Nice, and then exhale, straighten the left toes. Slide your fingers into your straddle. You can grab a strap or grab your fingers, or just skip it all together if your shoulders don't feel like it. Interlacing the fingers back behind you. Lift the chest, reach the fingers back. Exhale, fold forward and down. Press Ardha Padottanasana C variation with the clasp and the shoulder opening. And again, we're not trying to get the fingers to the floor. We're trying to experience space across the front of the shoulder, the front of the arm, even a little bit into the chest, by finding some tone in the back of the shoulder. So feeling shoulder blades glide together without them gliding more towards the floor. And one more inhale. Exhale, release your fingers down, pause, and then find your long tabletop spine. Inhale here. Exhale, look at your right foot and shift into your side lunge. Stay high to support the knee, or come a little lower. Hands in prayer or not, heel on the floor or not. Lots of different ways to be in any expression of the pose. So find yours. So really this pose is an opportunity to stretch the left inner groin, the right hip, right inner groin a little bit as well. And maybe even taking that little bit of twist. And it's almost like it on your left hand, like somebody has a nice gentle tug on your left wrist and is pulling you out and away from your hips. And try not to jut your chin forward. Feel that your head is also just nice and balanced over the shoulders, over the chest. Inhale. And then exhale, hands down, transition. Warrior two, back on the left side. Inhale. Exhale, take your time, get back to downward facing dog. No rush. All the way back. Arms reaching forward, legs pulling the mat back, hips high. Good, one more inhale. We'll just do a couple more things from here. You're gonna exhale, look forward towards your wrists. And just because this is the side of the computer that I'm facing on this side, let's go left hand mid-mat. And then we're gonna come into side plank again with the right foot stacked in front of the left thigh. Reach your right arm up. Now from here we have options, right? You could say just like this. You bring your left hand to your hip and try to stack your left foot into your tree pose. And then as you stack your right foot into your tree pose, can you bow a little bit right ribs towards the sky as you push foot and inner thigh together? Inhale. Exhale, turn it down. Can you keep your leg in tree pose? Good. Exhale, hips high, right toes down. Pause, inhale. Right side, side plank, exhale. Step your left foot forward of your right thigh. Wiggle your right wrist a little forward of your right shoulder. Maybe tree pose. And then find that lifting of your hips. Maybe even reach left fingers to right ear. Push, 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 push. Squeeze the foot and the inner thigh together. Keep the foot and the inner thigh together as you transition down. And lift your hips back. Set your left toes down. So take an inhale. Knees down, child's pose as you exhale. Sit back on your hips. If child's pose is too much for your knees, you can just take more of a puppy dog pose, not quite bringing your hips all the way back. Or sit a pillow or a bolster in between your sitting bones and your heels. This actually feels quite good after all that. So pull yourself back up to hands and knees. And we're going to do Anahatasana, which is this kind of as the shoulder stretch, but not everyone's shoulders love this pose. So I'm going to give you a few different options with it. So you start with your hips over your knees, and you're going to try to keep your hips there and walk your hands a big step forward. This is like puppy dog pose. When you do puppy dog pose, your forehead doesn't really have to come to the floor, and you're really in down dog arms. If your shoulders are a little tighter, you could take your hands to the outer edges of your mat, pull the mat forward without sitting your hips too far back, and try to bring the chest down, try to bring the chin down. If you have more space in the shoulders, you go flat palm, maybe even a slightly narrower base, depends on the width of your shoulders. And we'll do this more as a back of the heart opener, ribs coming down but not completely spilling out. So there's a little bit of a pulling of the ribs up and in, and you could be way higher away from the floor, so you could have a block underneath your forehead and really reach through the arms. If you feel kind of a pinch on the inseam here, or this discomfort of pressure, you would want to back off. Sometimes even though we can do something with our shoulders, doesn't mean they always love it. This is a nice place to be if it feels good. Good, take one more inhale. And then exhale with your hands, pull and lift your chest away from the floor, and then drop your hips forward and down and bring your elbows onto the mat for Sphinx pose. Curl your toes back and then wiggle your thigh bones back. As with your fingers, you grip the mat and pull the mat towards your heart. And then just take a moment here, kind of feeling into that similar place in the back body that we were just stretching behind the heart. Notice if your head and your shoulders are kind of slouching forward. Really use your forearms, press down, pull the skull back. Nice, take an inhale here. Exhale, release elbows wide, pause, and then lean onto your right hip And for a moment, we're just gonna stretch into this left quadricep muscle. So you're gonna kind of lengthen your tailbone towards your heels and squeeze your left heel in towards your butt, almost like you're doing a reclined dancer's pose. And then for more quadricep stretch here, you can just pull, I say just, maybe pull your thigh bone back. But notice when you pull your thigh bone back, if you roll your pelvis forward. I mean, if you feel a stretch in your thigh, it doesn't really matter what position you have it in. Trying to get a little bit into that left thigh, so drawing it back behind the midline. Good. Now from here, if you have the outside edge of your foot, awesome, you can stay just like that. Or grab onto the inside edge of your foot, flex your foot, and really push your the sole of your foot back. So you're kind of opening through the left side of your collarbone. So take an inhale. Exhale, slowly release. Come through the center. Let's take a Sphinx pose in the center. Forearms down, chest pulls through, thigh bones wiggle back, feet press, toes can be curled, or you have top of the feet on the mat. Up to you. Breathing in. And then exhale, lower down. And come onto the left side. Make a nice little pillow with your hand. Find a nice long line of your body. Squeeze your right heel in. Take a moment there with grabbing onto the outer edge of your right foot and trying to pull your thigh bone back. So you're getting that nice quad stretch or thigh stretch. And then from here, you can explore lacing your finger around to grab the inner edge of your foot. As you do that, feel that the collarbone is moving with that movement of the arm as well. So it doesn't stay in that closed position, kind of collapsing towards the chest. It spreads nice, wide, and open. And then maybe kick a little bit back. You can flex the foot or point the toes. I like flexing my foot a little bit because it gives me more feeling of quad stretch. So I can push my foot into my hand a little bit better. And then all the way back to center, back into Sphinx pose. All right, now we're gonna do Dhanurasana, maybe, do Dhanurasana, bow pose. And we're gonna flip it on the side. This is for fun. There's a couple of ways to get into this, and I'll just demonstrate. You can watch or not. You can grab inside or outside edges of your feet, flex your foot, come into bow pose, and then roll onto your side and take your head up away from the floor as you kick your feet back. The other option is to come onto your side, kind of setting up similar to how we just did. And you're gonna find that bottom foot with your bottom hand, and then top foot with your top hand. And kick back, maybe drop the head if you want to be more relaxed, or keep it lifting up. So you can just be on your side and find your feet into Dhanurasana. Left side or right side, whichever is more convenient or you've already started to do. And notice if that left shoulder feels jammed, if you're on your left side. There should be that feeling of space across our collarbones, just like we did in the beginning of practice when we interlaced our fingers. You're welcome to also do that like we did in the beginning, kind of coming onto the side and reaching the fingers back. Take another moment on the left side. And then slowly, if you have your feet, you can release them on your left side, or you can find pressure, hand into foot, foot into hand, and roll yourself back into Dhanurasana and take an inhale breath in and switch right to the other side, or roll over to the other side. Especially if you have a fireplace behind you, you might need to orient yourself to come onto your right side. Sometimes it takes more than one little roll. I think this feels pretty good, actually, more than Dhanurasana in my mind, but it might not feel that way for you. Nice, really nice. Awesome, nice, Terrence. Slowly coming back. Good. And then all the way down onto your belly. Nice. And then back into downward facing dog. Soft, generous bend in your knees in downward facing dog. Reaching your arms forward, sitting your butt back. And then tap your knees down to the floor. Roll over your legs. Let's go soles of the feet together, knees wide. Hands onto your ankles. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, real easy, because we did several back bending patterns in a row. Lean forward into the legs. Maybe closing the eyes, or if you have a block or you're by your sofa, you can grab a couple of pillows. You can set your forehead onto something solid. And as we take this kind of step away from obvious effort, physical effort anyway, notice how you're feeling. Starting to become more aware of and present with the subtler sensations in your body. Easy rate of breath, the heartbeat starting to slow, but there's still this warmth in tissue and skin. Good, all the way back up. Let's lower onto the back. Unless you know you want to stay seated for meditation, instead of taking Shavasana, you can do a twist seated. We're just going to recline onto our backs and do a simple twist. Knees come into the chest, knees drop right, left arm moves left. If you prefer any other twist at this point, by all means, go for it. But there is a softness. To be present and caring with your body. Especially after, there are times when we put positive stress into the body. We want to stress the system so that it can stay healthy and robust and strong and agile, and help us to really just move with freedom and ease in our lives as best as possible. But I know, at least in my personality, I can take it a little bit too far, where I don't know when to stop pushing. And this would be a good time to, instead of focusing on the depth of whatever pose you're in, to just be present with the feeling of the sensation of your body in an easy position. So you maybe even putting a pillow in between the knees. Give yourself permission to back off. Slowly switching sides if you haven't already. And breath is no longer really controlled and obvious, but simple, subtle, easy, rhythmic breath. Good. Coming all the way back to center. Draw the knees into the chest. And then from here, a still position. So you could just take up a lot of space on your floor, like a starfish in Shavasana. Come seated for meditation, or throw your legs up a wall. We haven't done any inversions in this practice outside of downward facing dog and our routine forward bend. So if that feels nice for you, especially on a hot day, I know my feet can get a little swollen. So it's nice to do the restorative legs up the wall as well. And then closing your eyes. And then just notice the space in between your eyebrows. Encouraging a softening and opening. As you soften the brow, notice if there's still tension at the front of the skull. Imagine that pressure dropping all the way through the tissue of the mind and coming to rest, to pool at the back of the skull. And as that tension moves, it shifts its weighted quality, even color, moving from a purple or a red or a dark black, cooling at the back of the skull into a syrupy, heavy liquid, golden nectar. And from the back of the skull, it pours through the throat, across the column of your sternum, ribs, back of the heart and the spine, coating the heart, dripping down the spine slowly, landing, pooling in the pelvis. Releases tension in the low belly. And it weights the low back down into the floor. And each time the forehead, that space, feels tense, just imagine that tension transforming, moving from kind of that really balled up point to become more diffused as it moves towards the back of the skull, down through the column of the spine, coming to rest in the bowl of the pelvis. Much of the symbology of meditation is this imaginative process that creates a cascade of feeling in the body. Rather than creating a literal response that we can understand with the thinking mind, we can feel the nervous system moving from our more active state to receive, feeling the front body fall into the back body fall into the floor. The skin loosens, the pores open, the body breathes, and the heart beats. So even now that we're still, we feel that subtle pulse of energy that is always there, it's always within us. Even the subtle sensation of the wind, breeze of the fan across your skin, things that we don't always see or hear or feel because we get pulled out to more obvious sensations. And as you participate intimately in the act and art of observation, feeling the loosening of tension, notice what bubbles up. It's not always peace, but there is buried treasure that we can be more aware of when we let the body, the physical body, drop and we pause the input of sensation from technology and relationship and conversation. Unburying the treasure. Peeling through the layers. So in all of our practices, we have the opportunity to stay and be in meditation. So feel no rush or pressure, but I know that we often allot a certain amount of time for our practice. So at this point, if you're ready to come out, before you start to move in that more obvious way again, take a bigger, fuller breath, controlled breath into your whole body. Just relish in the process of participating in that input and output. And notice how good it feels to breathe fully in your body. And then slowly, slowly, if you're not already seated, please join me seated. I want to thank you all so much for coming to this practice today. And I hope that we can continue to share our practices together. It's a little after 5:30. We started pretty late in our movement cycle, so I just wanted to give you a good full practice. If you have questions that come up about Patreon, or let me know. Or if there's other things that you are interested in seeing in the future months through the fall, also let me know. Otherwise, my plan is that the classes for Patreon, the Tuesday classes, which are included for all memberships over at the $30 level and up. So for $30 a month, we'll practice together every Tuesday at 4:30, as well as all the other on-demand tutorials and content. $40 is the Wednesday morning from 6:30 to 7 a.m. I'm realizing that I realize that not many of my students are early risers, so we could always switch that into like an evening short yin practice as well, if that was something that people were interested in and wanted to commit to. You could try that out as well. And then